Right, Parashat Devarim. Parashat Devarim opens the last Chumash in the Torah, also known as Mishnah Torah, because it is in a way kind of a repetition on everything that happened to Am Yisrael, and these are the last, basically Sefer Devarim is the last words of Moshe Rabbeinu. So when you learn it very well, because these are the last of his words. And they were said from the beginning of Chodesh Shvat and until Zayin Be'adar. One of the most wonderful things, amazing things about Moshe Rabbeinu, one of the most amazing things about Moshe Rabbeinu, is when HaKadosh Baruch Hu told them, listen, go get the thing, go to war, and and after that you'll die. Moshe Rabbeinu could say, okay, I'll do an Italian strike, I'll take my time. Right away, he went and did it quick. He wasn't delaying. Be Mekayim Devar Hashem. The guy is out of this world. It's absolutely amazing. And Zayin Adar is the day that he passed away. That was also the day of my grandfather passed away. And from the time frame in which we're at right now, it's called Ben HaMetzarim. This is a very, as we spoke about many times, very difficult times. And right before the fast of Tisha B'Av, which is going to happen next week, and Parashat Devarim comes to teach us a secret that maybe will help us deal with bereavement, with pain, with mourning. So if you get it, get it. If not, all right, come and see me later on. As we spoke about it last week's Parashat Matot Masa'eh, here also, there is no Zohar on the Parasha itself, and the meaning of that is a Hester. Hester means something in hiding. So the Zohar, when the Zohar came out, it was revealing a lot of things for us, but yet there are certain things that were not yet meant to be revealed. And amongst them, those two parashiot. And the reason is because these are Yemei Ben HaMetzarim, between the two vice grips. And these are the days of judgment. And as we spoke about a few weeks ago, as much as there is darkness covering, so is the hidden light that is hidden within those days, these days that we're having here. Somebody sent me from Israel a little notice. He said to me, if Rabbi Yitzchak Berditchev was here, he would probably say that on Simchat Torah we had a Tisha B'Av. It's October 7th. So therefore, it is only appropriate that on Tisha B'Av we shall have a Simchat Torah. I really hope those things will happen. So we'll see what happens. The sages of Kabbalah understood many times, years ago, we're talking about thousands of years ago, that our reality hasn't been good for us, or things that haven't been good for us. Ephraim, please sit here next to me. For the past at least 2,000 years of constant persecution, of being poor. Nobody likes us, and for not doing anything. Every generation there is another lunatic that finds a reason why not to like us. Being oppressed, humiliated, having this, to the point that we develop this awareness of a victim. We are the victim. We victimize for the past 2,000 years. And this is happening over and over and over and over again. And our Chachamim, our sages, understood that something is probably wrong with the way we perceive our reality, and not in the way reality perceives us. The same concept, or similar to the concept of lack of awareness or less of knowing or when we are not quite sure what's going on, as we're talking about modern physics, that says that as soon as you measured reality, right? Well, we spoke about it many times in quantum physics. As soon as you measure reality, we created a change in reality. So, this is what the Kabbalah teaches us to see in every story, in every situation, things that we haven't seen beforehand. However, we need to be aware that it mainly depends on the story that we're telling ourselves. And that's how you create the reality. So you could have two people experiencing the same experience, but processing it as completely opposites. I mean, I'm not saying the both are lying, they both experienced. One person was heaven, the other one was hell. So Moshe Rabbeinu tells Am Yisrael the story, and this is the changes that you would see in the words of Moshe Rabbeinu from what it says originally in the previous Chumashim, and also to the changes that you see in the, let's say, the first Aseret Dibot to the second Aseret Dibot, and so on and so forth. So Moshe Rabbeinu is telling the story of Am Yisrael and the journeys that Am Yisrael took for 40 years into the desert. Why does he need to tell them that? I mean, after all, we all know the story, so why do you need to tell us that? But Moshe is teaching us how to tell a story. What is the right way to hand over a story or a chain of events that happen? The parasha starts with the words, Ele ha-devarim asher diber Moshe el kol Israel. These are the words in which Moshe Rabbeinu spoke to the whole entire Jewish nation. Where? Be'ever ha-Yarden. What's Ever ha-Yarden?
The Jordan?
Cross the Jordan.
Cross the Jordan.
Transjordan.
No, Transjordan.
Something with Jordan.
In what is today Jordan? In the eastern part where it comes to the Jordan River. The other part is the land of Israel, belongs to the Jewish people. Let's just make it clear. Ever ha-Yarden is the other side of the Jordan. That's where the place in which they were, right before entering the land. And it says Ba'arava. Where is that? Ba'arava, in the prairies in Israel over there. Mul Yam Suf, across from the Red Sea. Ben Faranu, Ben Tofel, Velavan, Vechatzrot, Vedizahav, maybe Dahab. Where is Dahab today? Achad Asar Yom Michorev Derech HaSeir Ad Kadesh Barek. The Torah gives us a very specific coordinates of where exactly those things took place. And the Mefarshim ask a question: why does it need such a great detail to tell us where and exactly the coordinates and so on? So the Ari says that when the world was created, we were created complete, what we call B'Tselem Elokim, in the image of God, complete. And as much as God did, we wanted to be like that. We wanted to say, let there be light. We wanted to say, let there be light. And in order to do so, HaKadosh Baruch Hu needed to create a place of darkness in which we could create light. Now, what I just told you is a very deep concept. And if you take it appropriately, you might change the whole outlook that you have about so-called bad things that happen to you, bad things that happen to the world. If you would just understand that concept. So that process of creating darkness, right? The challenge, the possibility to actually fail, gambling on making the right choice, and so on and so forth. This is basically the story in which is being told in this week's parasha. Now, if you would just take those words and put it into work, you see that you probably, with all the years that you did Shnai Mikra Echad Targum, you probably didn't read the parasha appropriately. So it says, "Achadasar yom michorev," 11 days from Chorev, from Mount Sinai, derech har Seir ad Kadesh Barnea, from the mountain that's called Seir until the place that it's called Kadesh Barnea. These were the 11 vessels that broke and spread out in the whole entire universe. And those sparks of these holy vessels, we are looking throughout the span of our lives to basically what we call, that span of our life, what we call Derech Seir, the way of Seir, and that's what we have to pass. Just as the journeys, as the Torah counted us, that they did in the desert, last week's parasha in Parashat Masai. We are in a place of separation, pirud, separation, and in a constant search, in a constant look for those lost sparks that came as spiritual sparks that disappeared, and now we need to go and sort them through rubble and basically find them and then bring them back to the original purpose, the original usage that they have. And in order, what is the searches that we're looking? Of course, the biggest search that a person can look is for his spouse, right? That's nitzotz. That's your other part. Anything that you look in your life, through looking for a certain career. So, for example, if you're meant to have a spiritual job of bringing those sparks because you were a social worker, and instead of a social worker you decided to become a hunter, well, you're not going to be able to do the job. So we are looking for those careers, for friends, even friends, of people we are associated with, to help us complete the job. And when you ask yourself, my goodness, how did I meet this person out of all the people in the world? Because your tikkun was supposed to be done through this person together, or to help him overcome whatever he needed to do. So there is no coincidence in the kingdom of Hashem. There's no such thing as luck. There is a guided hand. I'm not talking about destiny. I'm talking about job and opportunity that we need to do. So in order for this search to be successful, we need to destroy the whole entire universe. Well, that's called chorev. Chorev means lachriv. The same thing as I told you, I sent you over this week on the chat. I said, in order to really find your true self, you have to destroy your current self. Because of the facade that we put upon ourselves, that we can be truthful. You cannot be really truthful for yourself. All you do is put masks on yourself. So they had to go, the same thing as here, they had to go through Chorev and the whole entire universe to really help us, right? Why? So there will be enough darkness so we could find it, what we lost between the rubble, and to really feel by doing so, by us finding that we find perfection. We are fixing things. We are partners in creation. And that Derech Har Seir, through the mountain of Seir in Kabbalah, are those negative forces that really accompany us all the time and really challenge us throughout that constant search. And not for nothing, now you might understand also the meaning behind what I told you, JSAR, J-S-A-R, Jewish Search and Rescue Company, or unit. Why? Because what we need to do, all of us together, is to actually help each other find those sparks and complete the job. This is not, and when you are MIA, missing in action, because you went to Bermuda, thanks a lot, buddy. Now you left me more work for me to do. And I don't know if I can accomplish it, because hardly I can do my job. You want me to do your job? Thanks a lot, with friends like you, who needs enemies? Exactly it. Now, you never looked at this way. And I'm not going to start to become apologetic because I'm telling you something that you should have heard a long time ago. So those forces, the negative forces that accompany us through this constant search, these are the forces of desperation. When you're depressed, laziness, oh my goodness. the forces of procrastination that would lead you to lack of emunah, the lack of belief, the ultimate constant stage of confusion that we're at. And to certain people, as they say, confusion will be my epitaph. Right? It's a beautiful song, but it's a statement of many people's God life. They're so confused, forgetfulness, and this brute feeling of like numbness, internal spiritual numbness that we all feel. These are very negative forces that we all experience that. If you don't feel your neshama, if you don't feel your spirit, dancing inside of you, you know that you got a lot of work to do and you're in bad shape. So go on and fix yourself before it's going to be way too late for you, right? And this is until, you need to work until when? Until we reach the place that's called Kadesh. Kadesh means Mishum Kedusha, holiness. And until we're going to reach this place of holiness that we all need to come about. And Kedusha will come accompanied together with hope, with creation, with the joy of life. This is the power of the story of Parashat Devarim. From Chorev to Kadesh, and you end up in Barnea. Barnea, what's a Barnea? If we're going to take the word Barnea, Bet, Resh, Nun, Ayin, and now you divide it into two, it's going to be Barna. Barna means all the days of Galut until we finish that selection. So the selection needs to be done. We need to separate good from bad, bring the good back to its source. Until the job is done, we are going to be in exile, in constant moving, running around from one place to another, Now you might understand why when somebody asked me a question about, can I go now to party or something? And I said, listen, you have your brothers and sisters, captives being tortured in Egypt by a bunch of, in Gaza, maybe they are in Egypt, by a bunch of low-life animals. You thinking about them going on vacation, you think about them going to a restaurant, you think about them having fun, when our dead are still not buried. And it's been 10 months and they're still finding bodies of people that they were burnt alive, remnants of bodies. And all you care about is your selfish self? What's wrong with you? Where's your help here? Forget about what kind of Jew you are. What kind of person are you? We need to understand that the job needs to be finished. And you need to be on board. All of us need to be on board. There's no such thing. Hey, listen, Rabbi, I learned already Daf Gemara. I got to go play basketball. No such thing. I need you on board. We're losing people daily. Daily we're losing people. And if you cannot read the signs, well, let me read it out for you. Since last year, anti-Semitism in Canada went up 7 times, 7-fold. Now it was 700% went up. In the United States, going from like 800 cases a year, we're talking about over 8,000. Do you know what you're talking? You know what's going on? Where's your responsibility? And as soon as we're going to hasten and hurry up and collect all those sparks, the better off we all are. Our reality, right, our beliefs, should I say, create our thoughts. Our beliefs create our thoughts. That's why you got to be super careful of what are you exposing yourself. For example, the news media it's not journalism. It's trying to change your opinion. Very simple. Did you notice how certain candidates are never being asked a question because they don't want to incriminate them? So it's not about journalism, without mentioning names. Then don't ask any questions because they don't want you to have your own opinion. If you see that particular candidate said something terrible, so they're not going to ask them questions. So you need to understand that our emunot, our beliefs, create our thoughts. Our thoughts create our actions. Our actions create our reality, and our reality creates us. You got to be very careful of what you exposing yourself throughout the line Because before you know, you're going to look at a mirror and you're going to see a stranger. And not because you got old, because you turn into something completely different than what you thought you are. And always, and most of the time, should I say, not for the better. We need to stop looking for good life or better life. Why? Because I'm going to tell you something. There is no such thing as better life. There's no such thing. Well, how could I say that? Very simple. Because if you are looking for better life, you're never going to find it. However, if you really, really want better life, well, I'm going to tell you what to do. Start with eating better. Start about sleeping better. Think about thinking better. How about behaving better? Become a better person. You want better life? Start with all these things. Because your life ultimately is what are you and what are you? If you are not a good person, you are not going to have good life. That's very simple. In other words, look for the good and you will find it. But start with yourself inside. So you think that the dulce vita, the good life, is eating caviar, drinking frozen vodka, having some, I don't know, Caribbean people doing like this to you with the fan, eating, going to the beach all day long, you look like a shrimp that was overcooked. That's not the dulce vita. The dulce vita, the good life, is completely different. And if you thought that this is what it is, the good life, well, let me tell you, you're wrong. It's not to have a suite in the world of Astoria. That's not a good life. But to really appreciate who sleeps next to you 40 years in a row and still appreciate it, that's a good life. Which, by the way, guys, thank you. Today is my anniversary, my 37th anniversary. So instead of spending the time with my dearest wife, the most wonderful person, I'm spending it with you. So make it worthwhile for me, please. So instead of going to a restaurant today, my 37th anniversary, I'm here with you guys. I don't want to hear next time that you're too busy. I have to go, some rabbi. I have a meeting somewhere. That would not go fine with me. Let me tell you that. I'll be very, very. Actually, you don't want to deal with my wife. So that's the story of Tisha B'Av, Rabotai. And the story of Tisha B'Av is not that we just cry about the broken walls of our Jewish temple that is being destroyed. We really cry, or mainly cry, because we don't give enough space and enough importance to the divine spark that exists in each and every one of us. We don't allow this to come into the light, as they say, to really fully express itself, to that part that is full with compassion, with positive outlook on our society, on other people, on ourselves, that is full with the will to give and to contribute, to overcome itself above our ego and personal, vendettas of personal benefits and so on and so forth. That part of us, we don't come to express itself. I honestly believe that if everybody would be less critical of our own environment, our own communities, and instead of that would add on with a good eye patience, compassion, then we could really celebrate real soon the building of the new temple. You see, in this week's parasha, there is a big concept in Judaism. It's called tochecha. Tochecha is rebuking. Now, many people are afraid of tochecha. They don't want to hear it. And I do believe, if I may say, that most people have it all wrong on what tochecha is all about. Tochecha is really any kind of statement or an act that the goal of those statements of act is really help the other person to see his negative behavior and to help him change his ways. In the pshat of those words, in the most simplified, way of that, the Torah really encourages us to give each other tochecha, to rebuke one another, and even uses that as a way to overcome loneliness and sense of not feeling belonging to and hatred among people. You tell me what? And I'm going to tell you, yes, of course. Why? Because it says, Lo tisna et achicha bilvavcha. You should not hate your brother in your heart. And what should I do? Hocheach tochiach et amitecha. Give him rebuke. And that is in Vaikra. More than that, we also read that the tochecha is an expression of love. Right? Ki et asher yohav Hashem yochiach. A person, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, gives tochecha, rebuking, to only those which he loves. So tochecha, we probably got it all wrong. And that is, by the way, in Mishlei.
Oh, Mishlei.
In Mishlei. How do you say Mishlei in English?
Proverbs.
Proverbs. Chapter 3, verse
21.
12. Same letter, but just, yeah. Right? Because the tochecha could awaken up the love that is hidden there in each and every one of us. Ocheach lachacham v'yoavcha. If you give tochecha to the wise man, he would love you. Also in Proverbs, chapter
16.
9. Who said 9? Nobody said 9.
14.
Verse
14.
8. So the first one, Ocheach tochiach, comes mishum lo ta'amod adam re'echa. Lo ta'amod adam re'echa. And here the proximity of those psukim really teaches us that preventing yourself from saying tochecha really refers to someone who is not willing to lift the finger when he sees the blood of his friend or his fellow Jew being spilled. Criticism is not tochecha. Criticism is not tochecha. Criticism, right? You could be a restaurant critic. You only point out what's bad. This one, I didn't like too much salt, too much this, less salt, do this, too hot, too cold. In Hebrew, criticism, it's called bikoret. Bikoret mishum mevaker. Mevaker is a guest. You come in, and you go. Also, mishum mevaker, mishum makes holes. You give criticism, you just make holes, you puncture holes. Tochecha is different. Tochecha rebuking, right? When we criticize people, right? We criticize one another, but from a place of self-love, right? I want to show you how good I am, and I'm going to show you how bad you are. Right? You're coming and you're going. But tochecha comes from a place of love. From a place of love, listen, buddy, this is not good. This is not good. What you're doing is not good. But I'm here to help you. I'm here to help you fix it. That's tochecha. Right? And to really come and fix that is a very big thing. It's a very big thing. Right? The truth of the matter is, really, who wants to help anybody today? Nobody wants to help anyone. I mean, we can help our brothers and sisters in Israel, not only just by going there. I mean, we have the internet. Go on your Instagram and do what the Parasatans do, just the other way around. Help your people. Show presence. You can even do that. You don't care. You don't care. When was the last time you helped somebody? When was the last time you gave something from yourself? When was the last time you showed support for the people in Israel? I don't care, secular, schmecular, nonsense. You don't care. Listen, Rabotai, everybody knows how to point a finger, but nobody wants to lift a finger. How can you sit aside When you see your brothers and sisters being butchered, you don't care. At that point, after October 7th, everybody should have left everything and go. Help! Sorry, I'm a big tzaddik. Everybody wants to be like the Gra. After Yom Kippur is the only one learning. Where is this Ahava? Where we have it? They can't do this. Stop pointing fingers. Stop lifting fingers. Start helping. Roll your sleeves. Help out. I don't understand. Parashat Devarim comes and teaches us that in the way that we're going to tell ourselves the story of our life, this is how our destiny would be. Our fate will be based on how we perceived our lives. And it's always better that we tell our lives from a positive point of view. In Becheskat, what we say, Kol Akeva Letova, every delay is for the best. Or as Rabbi Nachumish Gamzu said, Gamzu Letova, this is also good. If we are tired of the way our life is going, and the way things are happening for us, as a collective, as a nation, or as individual, here comes Parashat Devarim, and really gives us, this is the story, and this is, by the way, no wonder that we always read it before Tisha B'Av. This is really the koach, the ability, and the secret to tell us a different story. We might still celebrate Tisha B'Av. We might celebrate it, but it all depends on you. How are you going to be telling the stories from this point on about yourself, about our people? That's why, please guys, prevent yourself from sending each other negative news, because it does not contribute. On the contrary, it hurts more. Start seeing the good. Look for the good, it will be good. Come from a place of love. Let's make this change together. And I'm not just sending you, I'm saying after me. Be'ezrat Hashem, I'm willing to be mekabel this on myself to do even more. But I cannot do this alone. Nor anybody can do this alone. Not even Bibi can do it alone. We need everybody on. We need all decks on hand. Everybody. Everybody has a job. And every job is important. We must join forces together. We have to stay positive. We have to stop being negative. We have to stop being selfish. And we have to start caring. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.